Norman, it's so nice to be with you here at Oak Tree just weeks before the Derby Sale. Your record as a pinhooker is quite extraordinary, but I want to take you back a little bit because my first meeting with you on camera was in your house in Lambourne 30 years ago.
It was 30 years ago, Robert, yeah. I remember, and there's a picture around there somewhere of the old wooden crutches. Yeah, a long time ago.
Norman, take me back right to the beginning though, because you were born in County Cork. Were you born to ponies and horses? How did it happen?
No, I was born into farming. My late father was a farmer and then cattle dealer and everything. But so you were always around stock. And I said, you know, the young people today probably wouldn't look at it like we do. So you're always involved in stock. And funnily enough, I was only asked the other day, but my father used to show a lot of cattle, Hereford cattle. And I remember that well, be walking around at the shows. I remember going to the spring show in Dublin with cattle, you know, when I was very young. And so you wonder now, did something rub off? Whether it was you want the best looking animal, or you want it turned out the best, or whatever. So there's definitely something along them lines.
It's got to go back to it, hasn't it?
Yes, I think so. You know, or maybe you walk out there in the morning and you're not happy with how a horse looks. Maybe it came from way back then. I think it probably did.
Ponies, hunting, and then into racing. Why racing?
I had a lot of luck pony racing. For a lot of people we speak about now sadly passed away, but Robert Tyner's father, he was good to me pony racing. People like that, and there was another man called Burns down in Mallow, and I was champion pony rider a couple of seasons and broke a few records and held one, funny enough, till Emmett McNamara broke it like 20 years later. For the winners in a season or something like that. But then, you know, I had a lot of hunting done, and jumping was my thing. I liked jumping and whatever. And at that time, it wasn't as simple to go off and be a jockey. You had to go to a yard, you had to serve your time, and we didn't know anybody, we didn't know where to go. And eventually, I think I was put in contact with Dermot Weld, and that's where I was sent to. But again, back at that time, you were sent to work. And I was thought I was this great hero of a pony race rider, but I was a small boy when I went to DK's at 16.
You probably wanted to be a flat jockey, but in fact, from Dermot, you go to Pat Hogan.
Yeah, Dermot, in fairness, Dermot was very good to me. He looked after me for 3 years there, and you know, I learned a lot. There was a lot of things. I remember riding work on a lead horse one morning, and Lester Pickett was riding work, you know, on theatrical.
Wonderful.
So there were loads of things, and you know, you're learning from McCann every day of the week.
Yeah.
So there was great jockeys, but then he pulled me aside. Dermot did one day and sent me to PP Hogan. It's too heavy to be on the flat, and off I went to PP's, and yeah, I spent a bit of time there, which I learned a huge amount.
He fired you.
He did eventually. Yeah. I was only there for a season and a half, I suppose. But you know, you could speak about some of them people for ages.
All you've done is fall off. And
I fell off and broke a bone in my shoulder and got sacked that evening.
Norman, it gets better from there on. You go to England, you go to John Edwards, you go to Kim Bailey, Venetia Williams. It's fantastic. You ride over 1,200 winners, 1,268, I think. And Champion Hurdle, Gold Cup. It just got better and better.
It did. It was a good career. Rachel Blackmore made it look bad though last week, didn't she? When you think what she won. Yeah, and it's only now you look at what Rachel did actually, and like it's unbelievable the big races she won.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But my career, yeah, certainly, Robert, it was great.
I'd love to ask you, I mean, when you were riding, were you planning to be a pinhooker, or would you like to have done training, or would you like to have bred horses, or been a TV pundit? Why did you choose this avenue?
It kind of happened. I came back to Ireland. I was riding for Edward O'Grady, and I wanted to slow down. You know, I was only 34, but nowadays they'd say you were too young. But I had a neck injury which was ongoing, and eventually had a fall and I had to stop. But my original plan was to maybe buy a few store horses and run them in bumpers and whatever else. And Janet and myself got married, and I was telling Timmy Hyde, of course, who was the greatest pinhooker of
Your
his
father-in-law.
generation, my father-in-law, and I was telling him this one morning, and he said, yeah, great idea, and I could ride these horses, I could train them myself, if I could do whatever. And we're having breakfast, and he turned to me and he said, what are you going to do with the ones that are no good? And I actually couldn't answer him, and I thought, I haven't really thought of that.
Yeah.
And straight away, I thought, well, hang on now a minute, this isn't going to be quite that simple. And I'm very friendly with Eddie Hales, who trained bumper horses at the time and sold them on, and some great horses like Don Cossack and whatever. And I thought that'd be a good idea. But Eddie O'Leary, and we're married to sisters, Eddie O'Leary asked me to go to a breeze up sale. And it was a couple of years previous. And I went to a breeze up sale and I rode a horse for him who ended up winning the Norfolk for Howard Johnson, funny enough. And I thought this was simple because I could ride. I thought I could get him to go quick. And at that time, there was no clocks. They were coming up in 2s and 3s. And if your horse cantered in a straight line, you were in a better position than the next man. So, to go down and wrap your legs around one and get it to come up pretty quick was pretty simple at the time, which is not anymore because everyone seems to be doing it. And I thought, here, this is what I need to do. So Mags O'Toole and myself went off to America the following September, and we bought 2 yearlings and came home, and they were my 2 for the winter. And it started from there.
Norman Oak Tree is a magnificent place for such a nursery. You bought a lovely farm, but you then fine-tuned it to your requirements.
Yeah, it's small. It's small. We've an extra few acres back the road 2 miles, but we only added or bought that a couple of years ago. But it's what we need when we as we spoke about the horses. It's a small operation, so you don't need huge acreage or anything. We put in a nice gallop and we built a barn and did whatever. But it's simple run, easy manage. We bought it from a lovely lady, Geraldine McCann, who was a horsewoman herself, obviously. And we've been lucky here and very happy. We're here 22 years.
And Janet plays such a part in it.
Yeah, Janet obviously coming from the Hyde dynasty. Obviously great horse people and salespeople, funnily enough. And I must tell you a story, Robert, actually. Hamish Alexander he was at a party one night and there was 2 ladies asked him, they said, how do you become a bloodstock or a pinhooker? And he said, very simple. He said, get yourself a catalogue and marry one of the Hydes. That's a true story.
Yeah.
But so Janet's obviously, and Janet runs all the office, and obviously she rides out herself a lot, and the kids are mad into their ponies and eventing. And
I want to talk about those kids now because Josh is doing incredibly well, as is Carla. Now they've both represented Ireland at European level. I mean, it's rather wonderful.
It is. Josh is a gold medal team winner. Myself and Matthew Love and Kevin O'Ryan's daughter Claire. So, and Carla went back in 2 years in a row, and I think she was bronze and silver 2 years, team medals. So it's a great experience and a great time. Now it's like getting beaten in the Gold Cup when it doesn't happen, but they're great times. The kids are getting on great. Yeah, they are. And Josh, of course, has gone on to riding as an amateur now at the moment. The bad accident after Christmas, and 6 weeks later he happened to come back and win the Tats bumper in Fairy House. But listen, he's getting a lot of support. He gets a lot of advice from people like Ruby and Derek O'Connor and these guys with experience. They're all very good to him. But he's a long way to go. He's an amateur and he'll probably stay amateur for another while. But what we see, I think he's going the right direction.
It's been fantastic, breeze ups and stores. You made your Derby Sale debut in 2006, and a Cave Tara filly who went on to win several races for John Joe. So it's basically pin hooking, whether it's flat or jumping. We're weeks away from the Derby Sale. We're very excited. You have 5 catalogued, and I'd love you to talk to me about them. Wonderful time to have a walk in the park. You've got 2 of them. Yeah,
we got 2 of them. They're difficult to buy. That's the start of it. And when you're in this pinhooking business, 2 or 3 years ago, everybody's saying, I don't like a walk in the park, he's this and he's that. And then there was this rumor went around that some of them are hot and some of them are, but he is an outstanding sire. He is, I don't care where you go in Europe.
Yeah.
He has class, they have size, they have scope, they jump. You can have a Gold Cup horse, you can have a bumper horse. walk in the park to me is the business.
One of them is from the Comanche Court family,
Yes,
and that
he
brings you
is.
back a bit,
That
doesn't
brings
it?
back a bit Comanche Court, yeah. If he ends up as good as him, but a nice horse, good mover, plenty of size about him, you know, and fingers crossed he'll sell well.
And another out of a presenting mare.
Yeah, presenting mare, a great cross again. Everybody loves a presenting mare, but again, fine, big, good moving horse, and yeah, we'll be hoping he's liked. But you've a lot of competition.
The Crystal Ocean is good looking.
Crystal Ocean, beautiful horse, yeah. Crystal Ocean, you know, he looks to be the up and coming sire. Plenty point winners. They look classy. I thought buying them as foals and yearlings, some of them looked like they might be a little bit limited in height, but we actually have a couple of 2-year-olds out in the field there, and they seem to have loads of height, and they are good looking horses. So you know, I'd like them. Yeah.
And Harzand, you've got another a gelding by.
We have it's a bit special to, well, special might be the wrong word, but I gave quite a lot of money for him as a foal, and big black horse, or you know, dark bay if you want to call it that. But he is a very big, good-looking horse, and you know, they say the old-fashioned Derby Sale horse. This fella is. He's the.
And I would know him from the Moldboard family, but actually we can say Bob Bollinger now. I mean,
Yes.
he's got a few goodies on the.
He
on
has.
The page.
It's a very good pedigree now, and yeah, I bought him from the Senates down in, I think, Wexford direction, and they, you know, he's a lovely horse. He's a big scopy horse and good mover. Yeah, we have a few weeks to go, but fingers crossed he could turn into a real one. Yeah.
And you've got a filly as well. How do you view geldings and fillies? I mean, obviously to bring them to a Derby Sale, what's
Well,
your...
I suppose, you know, you're talking, Robert, when I started, there's been lots of times in between where nobody wanted a filly. And, you know, there's filly foals walking around the ring in November, and 1,200 quid would buy you one. But it's very different now. You know, there's a great system for them. They're worth something when they're finished racing. The programme, whether it's Cheltenham, Punchestown, Fairyhouse, all these festivals have a great mare's race. So now they're worth every bit. If you have a nice mare, she's worth every bit as much as a gelding, especially with a pedigree. The one I have is she's actually named Miss Mam is her name. Yeah. I bought her, funnily enough, as a 2-year-old in France, and she's a beautiful mare. She really is big, strong, good looking, exceptional mover. I think she is. So I'd be really hoping that her sire again is going great, Mass Marvel. And
Tia Poo and
absolutely,
she's from a good family.
She's from a good family, but she's, you know, she's a good strong chasing mare, I'd say, and yeah, I'd be very disappointed if she's not liked. I like her a lot, yeah.
Well, it's wonderful that Oak Tree now has this incredible name. It's wonderful for the purchasers, the confidence it gives them to come to a sale and look at your horses, knowing that it's all happened before on multiple occasions. Norman, well, looking forward to seeing you at the Derby Sale, and thanks so much for the talk.
Thank you, Robert, and great to have you here, and we're looking forward to the Derby Sale.